may sit. I would like to welcome you all to the College of Pharmacy's 15th annual White Coat Ceremony. And this White Coat Ceremony is to welcome our class of 2021. And 2021 may seem like a while off, but I can guarantee you that it'll go by pretty quickly. And we generally have the banquet for the graduating class in the same place. So 4 years from now, you'll all be back here again. Okay, my name is James Herron. I am the Executive Associate Dean who's in charge of our Doctor of Pharmacy program, and I'll be your host for this event. And so for all of our audience here, I'd like to thank you for joining us in the celebrating the class of 2021's entry into the profession of pharmacy. Wanted to talk a little bit about white coat ceremonies. I think you've maybe heard of them before. There's sort of a rite of passage that demarks students' transition from their preclinical studies into a lifelong career in healthcare. And white coat ceremonies first appeared about 25 years ago in medical schools and soon moved to nearly all of the professional programs or schools in the health sciences. And they mark, for the actual students, they mark a very important change in attitude to a career based on service to patients and others that are in the patient circle. And so that's one thing I'd really like to have you keep in mind today, is that the reason you're here is basically to learn how to serve patients in our area. So anyway, I would like to invite the audience to join with me in welcoming our class of 21. And so I'm also very pleased to see so many of your students, guests and families and loved ones, as well as special friends of the college. So once again, join me in giving a nice welcome to all of our guests. Next, I'd like to introduce our Dean, Randall Peterson. Dean Peterson has joined us at the start of 2017, so this is his first white coat ceremony, and we hope he'll have many, many more here with us.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I wish you all had the chance that I have to stand up here and see this incredibly beautiful site we have here, a terrific looking class. I've had a chance to get to know many of these students, and so have the faculty, and we're just so impressed and delighted with the quality of the class we have here. It's especially great to have so many friends and family here supporting and participating in this really momentous occasion. I'm glad to have a chance to just share a couple of thoughts with you. As Dr. Herron mentioned, this is my first white coat ceremony, coming here after spending most of my career in Boston, where I was a faculty member at Harvard Medical School and ran a research center at one of the best, I'll just say it, the best hospital, part of Harvard Med School system, Massachusetts General Hospital. This is a hospital that's been around for more than 200 years. It is home to some of the best physicians in the country, and they all have a very robust sense of their own value and competence as caregivers. And I made it my practice every time I spoke to them. I had many occasions to speak to the physicians there. To start off by posing a rhetorical question, which is the same question I want to pose to all of you today. What I would always ask them is, where would you rather be a patient? In a 1960s hospital with a 2017 pharmacy, or in a 2017 hospital with a 1960s pharmacy? So think about that for a minute. I don't know what you're thinking, but I can tell you that these venerated physicians, despite their wonderful diagnostic ability and confidence, almost uniformly said that they would rather be in a 1960s hospital with a 2017 pharmacy. And what I think that speaks to is the power of pharmacy to really impact patient lives. No matter how good you are at diagnosis or surgery or procedures, really the greatest impact that we can have in improving people's lives in a medical sense comes through pharmacy. And as you receive your white coats today, you will become part of a profession and a group of people that wields incredible influence over the care of patients. It should also be noted that one of the greatest sources of medical error comes from misuse of pharmacy, and the greatest cause of increasing healthcare costs is also related to pharmacy. And so whether you're interested in individual patient care or policy, really it comes down to influencing the way that medicines are delivered to patients. And so you have tremendous responsibility that you're taking on today. It can be a little bit overwhelming if you really consider the impact that you're going to have. And I'm reminded of a fun conversation I had over dinner with one of the alumni of our college, who's in her mid-90s earlier this year. And she was regaling us with stories about what she was doing during the war, where she was enlisted, that's World War II, I should say, and she was enlisted to train pilots in navigation. And she had no prior training in that. And someone at the table asked her, Dee, how did you have the ability to take on such a momentous and important task? And she said, the military has this amazing attitude, which is they can instill in you the notion that you're smart enough to do this, and if you don't learn it, someone's going to die. And I thought, what a great message for our students, too. You are smart enough to do this. You can learn this. And you have really a remarkable group of faculty here that's ready to help you take on that huge task. So congratulations on all the work that you've done to get to this point. I know you're coming in extremely well prepared, extremely dedicated, and ready for the challenges that are ahead of you. And you can count on us to be with you every step of the way as you climb up this path. I wish you luck. I look forward to many interactions with you over the coming year and to being back with you here in 2021 for your graduations.
Well, thank you, Dean Peterson, very much for your words. And to the class, I hope that no one has to die. Okay, also a kind of a segue from what Dean Peterson was talking about. He mentioned our faculty, and some of our faculty are seated over here, and I'd like our faculty to stand up and be recognized by the students and the audience. And I'd also like to recognize Miss Marion Lenberg. I know that you're here somewhere, Marion. There she is. Marion was our very first student services person, and I've got about 12 or 13 people in student services now, but back in the day, Marion did it all, and she's been one of the college's greatest assets, and I would just like to thank Marion for everything that she's done. And I guess the jazz band has just done a take 5 here. But I would also like to recognize them. They're called the Elastic Jazz Quartet, and I don't think that has anything to do with a bandage. So I'll have to ask them later why they happen to choose that name. So, as you can imagine, it took quite a bit of while to organize this, and I'd like to thank all of our Dean's Office staff that were involved with this. And so what I'm going to do is invite them all up here to the front, and when they're all here, we'll have a round of applause for them collectively. So anyway, Maddie Marshall took the lead with all this. Maddie's been with us for 3 years, and she's taken the lead on the White Coat the last 2 years. And also assisting Maddie were Shauna Webster, Tori Fouts, Giselle Gomez, Ashley Malili, Daniel Kennington, Heidi Bates, Terry Elder Hale, Judy Babbitt, Carrie Kirkpatrick, and Misty Christensen. And Carrie, which was over there greeting people, is going to have to walk all the way over, so we'll give her a second before we applaud. And Misty. Okay. So I think you're all here, so thank you ladies very much. And of course, Ashley is our social media person, and so she's here photographing today, and unfortunately, the picture of the staff will not have her in it, because as you saw, she popped out and turned around and took a picture. So perhaps we can do another picture later, ladies, and I'll do it so that Ashley can be in it. So next we have some special alumni awards, and I would like to introduce Richard Ensign, who is our alumni board president, to make these presentations. Richard?
All right, thank you. Congratulations, and on behalf of the College of Pharmacy Alumni Association, I'd like to welcome the class of 2021. 4 years seems like a long time from your perspective, but it won't be long till we're at graduation and actually welcoming you as part of the alumni. So congratulations, and we look forward to working with you. I'd like to give a special thanks to the Friends of the College and some of the alumni that have donated for the White Coat, and hopefully you'll make an effort to get to know the people who have done this. A great connection between you and some of the former graduates. I'm honored to present 2 awards here today. The first is the Dean Heiner Distinguished Alumni Award. Dr. Heiner was the first Dean of the College of Pharmacy, and just hope I'm not stealing anything from Dr. Witt's talk, but one of the things that Dan and I learned when we were in school is as you go into the Skaggs Hall, the auditorium, and I don't know if they still take tests in the auditorium in there. There's a bust of Dr. Heiner, or Dean Heiner, just outside that. And so if you really want to do good on your exam, rub the bald head of that bust as you go in to the auditorium, and you'll do well. You can see where Dan is now, and so it'll really help you out. As far as the first award for the the Dean Heiner Award, this is an alumni of the college who has shown continual commitment to the college through teaching, preceptor volunteering, contributions to the pharmacy profession, and positively reflects the aims and academic mission of the college. The award recipient this year is Craig Herzog. Craig, if you want to come up here, and I'll tell a little bit about Craig as he's coming up. Craig recently retired just a couple months ago as the Director of Informatics and Technology at University Hospital. Just to show you, we don't want to measure time, but with these two awards, it's really in decades. And it was several decades ago that I was an intern at University Hospital, and Craig was my mentor, and so it's a unique opportunity for me to give him this award. I won't say how many decades ago that was. But Craig has had many accomplishments, and I won't take time to read through them. There's, I think, about 8 pages here, but he was instrumental in starting the informatics residency program at University Hospital. He's been very active in ASHP, USHP, the Alumni Association, has watched the university and helped them go from Cerner, Epic, multiple changes, which really have been shown, as you will find out, to reduce the risk of medical errors that we've talked about earlier. And throughout his career has been very active in the College of Pharmacy. So it's my honor to present the Dean Heiner Distinguished Alumni Award to Craig Herzog.
I just want to take a moment to say something really quickly. I do very much appreciate this award. I will talk about just one little thing. That is, I actually am a graduate of the class of 1978, which means that most of you weren't even born yet. But pharmacy has really changed. It was great back in '78, and it's just made tremendous strides since then. And I think that you, in this new class, are really in a position where you can provide exceptional patient care with your knowledge that you'll gain and the opportunities you'll have to provide patient care. So do your best, and it will actually be great for all of the patients that you work with. Thank you.
And we get to hear more from Craig at a banquet coming up in the fall. The other award I have to give is similar, but this is the Honorary Alumnus Award. So this is usually given at graduation, and this is someone that's not a graduate of the college, but throughout their career has shown considerable contributions and involvement into the College of Pharmacy and the student organization. And so it's my pleasure to present this award to Bill Baker. He'll come up. Just to tell you a few things about Bill, he's a national leader in the area of nuclear pharmacy, one of the first board-certified nuclear pharmacies, and I won't mention any dates, but been very active in state pharmacy organizations, including UPHA, ROCI advisor, involved in, I think even now and retired, he's still down at the 4th Street Clinic, volunteers at the 4th Street Clinic. Couple of things that have been mentioned about Bill. He's been described as an excellent role model, mentor, and innovator. Another comment from the nomination, as a gentle spirit, and although he has a quiet demeanor, he is someone who makes a thunderous positive impact on those whom he interacts. And so I'm very pleased to give the Honorary Alumnus Award to William Baker. And Bill would like to say a few words, so I'll turn it over to him.
A few words from somebody who's been around the block a little to the students. I want to congratulate you on being accepted. That wasn't easy, you know that. And you're going to be part of a great tradition here at the University of Utah. This is an exciting time to be in the health sciences. Everything is together to do great things, and you will do great things. I just want to tell you, don't be nervous about graduating. Don't think you can't do it, because like the dean said, the faculty is here to help you. You weren't admitted to fail. You were admitted to succeed, and you will succeed, so don't worry about it. And I just want to say something about life. Nobody on their deathbed ever complained about not spending enough time at work. So you remember that. There's more to life than work. And also there's more to the schooling than studying. You know, the secret to graduating is to study enough. You got to do enough. You don't have to have a nervous breakdown getting overboard about it, but you need to do enough. And the other thing is, I think I should tell you that life is fragile. Just look at what happened to the hurricane in Houston to see how fragile life is. Stuff happens, people die. And I think the most important things in life are your relationship with God and your relationship with those you love. And you need to take care of those relationships while you still have time, because nobody is guaranteed. So kiss your mate, hug your kids, and tell those you love how you feel while you still have time. So may God bless you and prosper you, and go Utes.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of the award winners. Okay, so it's time for our special guest speaker, and I'm very pleased that our special guest speaker will be Dr. Daniel Witt. As Richard Ensign just alluded to, Dan is one of our graduates, and I'll talk more about that in a second. He is presently professor and chair of our pharmacotherapy department. Dan's been in the chair role for 1 month as of today, in fact. And before that, he was vice chair for the last 5 years, I think, something like that. 3 years, okay, seems like 5, but that's not your fault. It's my job that makes it seem like 5. As I mentioned, Dan got his bachelor's of pharmacy here. I'm pretty sure I taught him PK also, and that shows you how long I've been here. Then he went on and got his PharmD degree at the University of Washington, and he must have liked it so much there that he stayed on for 2 different postgraduate trainings there. The first one was the clinical pharmacy residency at University of Washington and Harborview Medical Center, and the second was an advanced residency program in primary care and family medicine. Even though he's chair of the department and is actively involved with research, as I'll mention in a second, he still has time for clinical practice, and his practice site is the Hughes Thrombosis Clinic. So the topic of thrombosis leads us into Dan's primary research interest, which is the optimal use of anticoagulation therapy. And Dan's quite well known in this area. He has 90 journal articles, 11 book chapters, and he's given many CE lectures on this area, perhaps too many CE lectures to count. So anyway, without further ado, I'd like to invite Dan to come up and talk about his perspectives on pharmacy education as well as the pharmacy profession.
Thank you, Jim, for that kind introduction, and thank you for the invitation to say a few words. Family and friends, thank you for being here to support these pharmacy students as they begin their journey through this program and into their career as pharmacists. You know, it's going to be a wild ride, but it's going to be worth it. So I want you to think back as you were preparing your application for pharmacy school, and you were asked to write an essay. And in that essay, you were asked to tell us why you chose a field in healthcare, and specifically in the field of pharmacy. You know, it's been said that geologists are the people that can hear the rocks speaking. And historians are the people that can hear the voices of the long dead. And that writers are the people that can hear the magic in words. So, what called you to the profession? I'm on the admissions committee, so I read many of those essays. And some of the things that stood out to me were that many of you had a love of chemistry and love of science. Many of you had had personal experiences where you watched a family member go through difficult experiences in the healthcare system, or were positively impacted by a pharmacist or by medication use. And so those voices called you to this profession. And I might just write down the reason why you chose this profession and stick it on the mirror, so every morning you'll remember, this is the reason why I'm doing this. This is the voices that I heard that called me to this profession. So always remember that. Don't forget. So it's been said that truth is an eternal conversation about things that matter, conducted with passion and discipline. So I want to focus in on just a couple of those things for just a second. So let's focus in on that eternal nature, right? An eternal conversation. So this conversation about pharmacy and the use of medications has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Early hieroglyphics show the use of different medicinals, and we know that there are healers in many traditions and in ancient civilizations and ancient people. It used to be that leeches were a drug, right, that were applied, and it was thought that this would be helpful. When I was in my training program, we actually used leeches. I remember receiving the shipment of leeches from the vendor, and as reading the invoice, and down at the bottom it said 60 Hirudo Medicinalis, that's the name of the leech, and then at the bottom it said 1 bonus leech. I got a kick out of that, but anyway. But this is a conversation that's been going on for a very long time. And you're in a 4-year program, and you're going to get a degree at the end of that program, so you're going to have a 4-year degree. But more important is the 40-year degree, because you should never stop learning. And one of the things, the most important things that you can learn while you're here in this program is how to motivate yourself and how to acquire knowledge, so that you're not just memorizing facts, you're learning how to integrate knowledge into how you're going to help people live better lives through the use of medicines. Okay, so that's eternal. Well, it says things that matter. So what matters? I would submit to you that in the pharmacy world, the thing that matters the most is optimal drug therapy outcomes for everyone. And just think about that for a minute. That's what we're going to be talking about for the next 4 years. Optimal drug therapy outcomes for everyone. Passion and discipline. You've got faculty here that are extremely passionate about pharmacy. Faculty, if they don't really just love interacting with you students, they don't last long in this profession. So the people that are here is because they really gain energy from interacting with you all and helping you put all these dots together. You're going to be their colleagues, starting right off the bat. But in 4 years when you graduate, it's very gratifying to see our students coming back, and some of the faculty that are here now were our students not that long ago. And they're full of passion and they want to impart what they know. And so when we talk about discipline, I'm going to move on to the next subject of my remarks. When When I was in my training program, one of my residencies, my preceptor was a guy named Alan Ellsworth, actually a U of U alumnus, graduated from this pharmacy program. And every day he would go off to the gym up at the University of Washington and he'd play squash. And he just loved squash, and he had this guy that he would play with. And I would beg Al, I said, let me come and play squash with you. And he'd say, I was not really super good with tact. He'd say, you know what, you wouldn't have any fun and I wouldn't have any fun either. It's kind of hurt. But anyway, so I kept pestering him and I said, Al, come on, man, let me play squash. I want to learn how to play squash. And so finally he relented after me bothering him for a long enough period of time. So I went, he handed me a squash racket. He tried to explain the rules of the game and a little bit of the technique. And you know what? He was absolutely right. I did not have any fun whatsoever. And he didn't have any fun either, because it was immediately exposed that I had absolutely no skill in playing squash. It doesn't matter if I had any athletic ability whatsoever and I had all of the desire in the world. There is a progression of steps that one has to go through to become proficient at playing squash, or playing a musical instrument, or becoming a pharmacist, right? And you can't skip over the steps. Because if you try to, you're immediately going to be uncovered as a fraud, because you can't fake those things. So, I maintain that as you begin this curriculum, you're going to realize that it's structured in a very specific way. You're going to be learning basic information to start out with. And you might be thinking, what does this have to do with anything? It doesn't make sense to me. Persevere. You're laying a foundation for those future things that are going to layer in on top of that. And if you try to skip through those steps and you don't pay the price that it takes in order to gain those foundational concepts, you can't take the next steps, because there are these things called exams. And you're going to hear about OSCEs, right? OSCEs, where you actually have to demonstrate your skill. And looming 4 years from now is the NABPLEX exam. Right? And if you haven't acquired these things, then you're going to be discovered that you don't have what it takes. And so, every day, you need to just do a little bit more of what it takes to acquire those skills. And you've got all the support in the world. Spotters are ready. They're there to help you guys learn this material. Now, something that's really important is, if you are not willing to put yourself out there and help us as faculty understand, where in that progression are you right now? It becomes really hard for us to help. And so how do you do that? Well, you come to class and you participate in the discussion. So last week we had to talk about what's professionalism, right? And you guys were awesome. That was a really fun class for me, because you guys were really engaged and you had a lot of opinions and everybody was participating in that class. If you're afraid to raise your hand and ask a question, if you're feeling like, I don't really understand this material, but I don't want to say anything because then I'll seem to be, remember we talked about seeming versus being, I'll seem to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, if we don't know that, then we can't help you learn the material. And also, reach out and get to know these faculty. They may look scary and imposing, but all of them are passionate about helping you learn this material. Totally agree with what Bill Baker said. You weren't admitted to this program to fail. So help us help you. Participate and come and see us. We talked about relationships, and I'll talk about that in just a bit, but it's all about relationships of trust, right? And so we've got to develop that trust as we work together with one another. Be careful about comparing yourself to other people. Now, we sort of force that on you, right? Because we grade you on your exams. And so there's this feeling that you have to win and be better or compete to get that. But let's all adopt the abundance mentality, right? We don't have to worry about pieces of pie. There's enough pieces of pie for everybody, okay? Everybody can succeed. And so only compare yourself to yourself and try to do better from where you're at each and every day. Okay, just again, try to do a little bit more of what it takes to become a pharmacist. And start where you're at. Okay? Nothing can change that. You just got to start where you're at and start to build that knowledge in on top of that. We have a cool new thing that we've put into our curriculum. It's called recitations, and you're starting to get a feel for that. But these are opportunities for you to assume that role of pharmacist in a safe place where it's okay to make mistakes and nobody has to die, right? Right? You can make those mistakes, and people are there to help you learn that material. So take advantage of those opportunities, and you're going to learn pretty quick. Oh, this is a pass or fail class. And once I know that I've got enough points to pass this class, I'm just not going to show up anymore. You're going to rob yourself of some really awesome opportunities to learn the skills that you need to be a great caregiver if you do that. It's not about the grade. It's about acquiring the skill and the knowledge to be good at what you do. Okay. So, when we talked about professionalism, relationships of trust. We mentioned the outward mindset, right? What can I do to be helpful to other people around me? How can I help my classmates? How can I help the patients that I'm going to interact with? How can I be helpful to my faculty? And that sounds a little self-serving and weird. But really, how can I help the faculty make this a better experience for all of us as students? And if there's things that aren't going right in a class, say something about it. It's okay. We want that feedback because it helps us make the program better for you. And remember the difference between the sheep herder who drives people from the back and the shepherd who walks out in front and knows the sheep, right? So get to know one another, get to know the faculty, get to know your patients, and assume that shepherd mentality. So I just want to conclude by quoting a little poem. It's only 2 lines. It's by Robert Frost. And it conjures up imagery that I really, really like. So listen carefully. We dance around in a ring and suppose, but the secret sits in the middle and knows. So, envision this circle of people. You, the faculty, the alumni, everybody, the patients, we're all trying to figure out that secret in the middle. Who knows what it's all about, right? It knows what the right thing is, and we're trying to figure it out. And so we have this community of truth. We're engaging in that conversation together. We're trying to come to know that secret more and more and more by interacting with one another. The faculty maybe know more about that than you do, and they're trying to share. But we need to hear your experiences too. You've all interacted with some patients. You've been sick. You've taken drugs. I'm taking antibiotics right now, and I'm the worst patient ever, man. I cannot even remember to take a drug 3 times a day, and then that gives me empathy for the people that I'm maybe getting a little bit frustrated with because they're not taking their medications like they're supposed to. But let's all engage in that together, and as we do that, we're going to come to know that secret a little bit more and a little bit more each day. We don't know all the answers, but together we're going to come to a better understanding of that. Good luck, you guys. I'm looking forward to working with you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. I found that very insightful, and I liked your outward-looking attitude. And I wanted to reinforce that to our students. When I talked earlier about basically lifelong service to a patient, the key to that attitude is an outward-looking attitude, and that's something that to become the best possible practitioner that you can possibly be, you're going to have to develop an outward-looking attitude. Okay, maybe I beat that dead horse long enough, huh? All right, so let's go on to the reason we're here, which is a presentation and coding of the class of 2021. Now, this is going to be a kind of a complex process, so I'm going to try to explain how it works. So, Dr. Dave Young is going to stand here and call you and read the names. He's going to call each person. When your name is called, you enter the stage here. Dr. Carol Lim who is the 2016-17 Teacher of the Year for both our first-year class and for the entire college, is going to stand there and put your coat on. I'm getting this confused with graduation because I put the hoods on. I'll put your hood on 4 years from now. And then Dean Peterson, myself, and Richard Ensign will stand here and shake your hands, and there will of course be chances to get photographs here as well as here. So, got it straight, everybody? So I'll invite Dave and Carol and Dean Peterson. Oh yes, the last thing is, and I'll just talk loud, is to sign our class of 2021 Pledge of Professionalism, and there's a line for each one to sign. This pledge, by the way, comes from the APA. Okay? So Dave and Carol, and Dean Peterson, and Richard.
Well, welcome. It's definitely an honor to be here and be part of this presentation. I win the award for the longest coat because I'm the shortest person. So with that, we'll start with the first row. You are coming back, right? Alan Abenanti. You can clap if you want. Shaylee Anderson. Bryce Ashby. Alexandra Brewster. Matthew Brown. Lauren Burgess. Anwin Chen. Lindsay Child. Ashley Conlon. Linda Kraft. Peter Curtis. Taylor Drennan. Christopher Epic. Nilofar Faghahi Mohanam. Julian Vroud. Eleni Gambrulis. Kelsey Gill. Noshin Hamed. Joseph Hill. Elizabeth Hill. Melanie Hunter. Ashley Jackson. Karen Johnson. Matthew Jolly. Disha Kansagra. Gersarim Carr. Unita Hechumian. Joseph Lamson. Kendra Larson. Jahoy Lee. Mandy Lines. Sandy Liu. Monet Lulo. Victor Win. Brian Ortega. Carly Palukas. Miranda Renard. Howard Schmutz. Mustafa Tuckerly. Yeah, come on. When you hit the X. Josiane Thompson. San Tran. Omid Vadapur. Connie Ward. Jonathan Warren. Dulani Walapali. And Presley Wetman. Hey, you're welcome. I don't have their names. I don't have their names. What's that? Aaron Wilson. Oh, got over here. Sawyer Wiley.
So I'll give them a few seconds to finish signing and get seated. And then the pledge that they're all signing, one of our fourth-year students, Matthew Berencott, is going to come up and lead them all in the pledge. It's also on the back page of your program, in case you want to look at it. Matt? There he is.
Well, welcome, fellow colleagues. I saw you guys got the new logo on your... I'm a little jealous, but at least I'll know how to pick out a P1 all year. So, I was going to go over this pledge of professionalism with you guys, but first I was going to share a few words. I have a few quotes on my computer background, your computer that'll follow you all around all of school. One of them is very simple, probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but to me it meant a lot. It was by Albert Einstein, and what it said is, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So you guys are going to go through some difficult 4 years, right? But try and remember why, like Dr. Witt said. Remember why you're doing it and what you're doing it for. At the same time, have fun, especially your P1 year. You seem to have a lot more leisure time, so have fun while you can. But you know another way to have fun is join your student chapter programs. You guys have probably been bombarded by them over the last 2 weeks, right? Yeah. But really, we do that because we believe in them and believe they can help you. You'll have the opportunity to grow professionally, for sure. You'll get the opportunity to run for leadership roles, attend national conferences, and I can't tell you how much that has benefited me and how much I will always recommend it to you guys. Okay, so join the likes of APHA, AMCP, ACCP, NCPA, UPEDS, Kappa Psi. Which ones am I forgetting? CPMP. All right, I think I got them all. With that said, you guys want to read this pledge of professionalism with me? You guys all have it? Some of you? Okay. As a student of pharmacy, I believe there is a need to build and reinforce a professional identity founded on integrity, ethical behavior, and honor. This development, a vital process in my education, will help to ensure that I am true to the professional relationship I establish between myself and society as I become a member of the pharmacy community. Integrity will be an essential part of my everyday life, and I will pursue all academic and professional endeavors with honesty and commitment to service. To accomplish this goal of professional development, as a student of pharmacy, I should develop a sense of loyalty and duty to the profession by being a builder of community, one able and willing to contribute to the well-being of others, and one who enthusiastically accepts the responsibility and accountability for membership in the profession. Foster professional competency through lifelong learning. I must strive for high ideals, teamwork, and unity within the profession in order to provide optimal patient care. Support my colleagues by actively encouraging personal commitment to the oath of pharmacist and a code of ethics as set forth by the profession. Incorporate into my life and practice dedication to excellence. This will require an ongoing reassessment of personal and professional values. Maintain the highest ideals and professional attributes to ensure and facilitate the covenantal relationship required of the pharmaceutical caregiver. The profession of pharmacy is one that demands adherence to a set of rigid ethical standards. These high ideals are necessary to ensure the quality of care extended to the patients I serve. As a student of pharmacy, I believe this does not start with graduation. Rather, it begins with my membership in this professional college community. Therefore, I must strive to uphold these standards as I advance toward full membership in the profession of pharmacy. Congratulations, guys.
Okay, thank you very much, Matt. And Matt did a very great video that was an award winner through the APHA's video contest each year, and I encourage you all to check it out. I'll give you one little clue. He had a very great ride. Okay, so we're pretty close to the end now. Before we all proceed out, I was going to point out that we have some light refreshments, and the drinks are right back here, and then we have dessert items on both sides, so feel free to help yourself to all of those. And I would also ask the audience to remain seated while the students proceed out. And so Dean Peterson will go back here where he was to start with, and I'll come here, and then we'll just basically do the reverse of what we did when we came in. And band, if you can start the song now, that would be great.